Welcome to the University of Economics in Bratislava. I am Ben Zolkowski, Chairman of the Department of Commerce. Slovakia has undergone a remarkable economic transformation since joining the European Union in 2004. Sound macroeconomic and structural policy reforms have created a period of rapid economic growth that was buoyed by foreign investment and exports. When the global recession hit in 2008, Slovakia's sensible fiscal policies and its minimal exposure to the banking crisis softened the blow. Slovakia met the Maastricht convergence criteria and adopted the euro on January 1, 2009. Today we will discuss the state of the Slovakian economy, 15 months after the adoption of the euro. Has our partnership with the euro area been beneficial to the citizens of Slovakia? Joining our program today is Katie Adams, Suyash Fule, Tara Manesh, and Abi Mera. The global recession hit in 2008 and stretched and strained the economies of the world. Government stimulus packages and unprecedented measures to restore the financial sector after its near collapse were put in place. Ms. Adams, how have the leaders of the euro area helped its 16 member states weather the crisis?
In the euro area, the ECB lowered interest rates and adopted a concerted action plan to promote interbank lending. Also, the European Recovery Plan infused 200 billion euros of economic stimulus into the 16 member state economies. Also, leaders from these countries adopted strategies to keep jobs and extend social services. Statistics in the second half of 2009 show signs of recovery and a slow, gradual turnaround. Economists are predicting headwinds and a lack of robust indicators in 2010. The growth rate for the euro area is projected to be 0.7%. Demand will remain tempered because of high unemployment at 9.9% and lackluster consumer confidence. Debt levels have reached crisis proportions in some countries like Greece and Portugal. In March, Greece's debt was recorded at 113% of GDP. The Greek government adopted a 4.8 billion euro package of austerity measures to hopefully improve their cost of borrowing.
Countries in the euro area are expected to follow the Stability and Growth Pact that sets a low target government deficit of 3% and a government debt that is less than 60% of GDP. But riding and recovering through the recession has made it very challenging for member states to hit these targets. And Greece is not the only country whose fiscal budgets were not in line prior to the recession. Now, many countries are really struggling to control spending and stockpiling debt.
There is no doubt that a lack of common fiscal policy has impacted the recovery in the euro area. In a recent economic bulletin, John Bruton emphasized that the euro is caught between two competing institutional structures. This hybrid structure does not have the legal capacity to tackle 16 diverse economies, 16 sovereign governments, and handle asymmetrical shocks.
A stronger than expected global recovery, especially in the United States, our largest trading partner, could give the Eurozone a boost in 2010. Despite high unemployment and huge U.S. budget deficits, positive economic indicators are predicted for the year. Some economists fear, however, when the United States depletes its $787 billion in government stimulus, the U.S. economy may fall flat.
Well, the challenge facing the U.S., EU, and all the global economies is how and when a synchronized global unwinding of market support should take place. That is the 200 billion euro question that only time can answer.
This discussion has given our audience a better understanding of the current economic picture, so let's move on to our specific focus on Slovakia. Ms. Manesh.
Well, the average real GDP growth rate was over 7% for the 6 years prior to the recession. But there have been sound economic policies that benefit their market economy. Wide range of reforms in the tax, pension, social, and healthcare systems provided a decrease in government exposure and business costs, while providing an increase in incentives to work, jobs, and business investment. The supply-side driven growth also ensured favorable prices and wage development. Unemployment was decreasing and the cost of living increasing. Slovakia was an economic model, a powerhouse in Eastern Europe.
May I add that foreign investors also found Slovakia very attractive. Slovakia was the center of an arms industry, providing military supplies to the communist Eastern Bloc prior to the Velvet Divorce. For more than 20 years now, Slovakia has been attempting to remove the shackles of this communist past. One of our pivotal goals for Slovakia was to make it attractive to global businesses. This was accomplished through the implementation of a new tax structure, low labor costs, and a highly skilled workforce.
In 2004, the government replaced the income, corporate, and sales tax with a 19% flat rate tax. Big businesses like U.S. Steel Peugeot, and Volkswagen build manufacturing facilities in our country, making Slovakia the Detroit of the East.
Like the rest of the euro area, the recession has had a strong impact on Slovakia. It is an open economy, depending on export sales and importing many of its needs, including oil from Russia.
Yes, the current situation reflects Slovakia's economic volatility. There have been substantial decreases in GDP growth and employment figures, while inflation has leveled to approximately 1% after adopting the euro in 2009. Last year, the legislature of Slovakia approved a 332 million euro stimulus package. The Slovak banking sector has been relatively resilient due to the good liquidity situation of credit institutions and cross-border lending. The banking sector's focus on traditional and prudent banking practices minimized exposure.
Slovakia, however, could not escape the effects of a global recession because of its strong trade links. Specialization in car manufacturing, which previously contributed to Slovakia's success, now poses a downside risk as car sales slide. Many subsidiary businesses also support these large car manufacturers. Various government initiatives are now in place to help diversify our manufacturing platform, but more needs to be done to reduce exposure. Adopting the euro in Slovakia should help boost car sales.
Do you really believe that the euro is increasing sales for both Slovakian products and services? Along with many others, I am not sure if the euro is our hero. It has been 15 months since we have changed currencies from the Karuna crown to the euro, and we have seen both positive and negative effects.
Let's look at it from different perspectives. During 2009, shopping tourism became popular. Slovak citizens were traveling to bordering countries looking for bargains. Hungary, Poland, Ukraine, and the Czech Republic all devalued their currencies against the euro to increase sales. For example, the Hungarian forint's 14% decline and the Polish zloty's decline of almost 25% sent Slovaks across the borders to shop. The transition to the new currency was seamless, but Slovak citizens are feeling the euro squeeze, with prices higher than their neighbors' prices, wages frozen, and many unemployed. They keep hoping the long-term benefits of being a part of the euro area will eventually outweigh the short-term pain.
And what about business? The high value of the euro has negatively impacted retail sales in Slovakia. In the short term, the strong euro exposed businesses to shrinking sales both at home and abroad. But in the first quarter of 2010, foreign currencies started firming upwards, making shopping in non-euro countries less favorable. Also, car exports to the eurozone increased, and car production figures were up as well.
Look, the Slovak business sector knew it was facing short-term uncertainty when it adopted the euro in the middle of an economic recession. It was willing to do so, however, because of the long-term benefits of being a part of the euro area.
I agree, Ms. Adams. Slovakia will see the benefits of being part of the large euro area in the long run. Price stability and transparency, a strong currency, and the elimination of exchange rate costs are all big benefits. Slovakia is only seeing a glimmer of these benefits as of now. The Slovak government also believes that the euro provided a shield from potential exchange rate pressures and helped sustain confidence in their country. Sure, the Slovak economy was hit hard by the recession, and for a while, foreign exports and investment were down. Nevertheless, now, Slovakia is still rated as having one of the best economies in Central and Eastern Europe. Moody's rating is A1, Fitch rating is A+, and same with Standard & Poor's, indicating that Slovakia is low risk on return. Slovakia also continues to be attractive to global investors. Kia Motors plans to increase SUV production by 40% in 2010, and they also plan to open a new engine plant in 2011.
But there is a concern that the skilled labor force may not be sufficient to meet future demand, Mr. Foulet. Productivity figures show steady increases, but we have an aging workforce in Slovakia and the need for advanced technological skills. An analysis of the labor market shows that there are still segments of the population that are struggling to secure jobs, and Slovakia continues to grapple with high, lingering percentages of long-term unemployed citizens.
That's true. General unemployment reported in January 2010 was 13.7%, with 346,000 individuals looking for work. Youth unemployment was reported at 32.7, a big red flag. Both of these figures are much higher than the euro area average. There is real disparity between Slovakia's real GDP growth and employment growth. Macroeconomic indicators showed a decrease in unemployment prior to the recession, but there has been persistent skyrocketing figures for certain population segments and geographic locations.
Obviously, we need job creation and solutions that get Slovaks back to work. Measures are in place to support the unemployed with extended benefits, but however, we have been told recovery will be gradual. First, we must see the demand, then the job opportunities follow. The key question is, how are we going to tackle this employment problem?
Policy priorities must be made to assist the unemployed worker. Slovak employees are having difficulty locating available jobs. The Public Employment Service needs to be reorganized and updated immediately. Also, the use of a Slovak internet job search engine similar to that of Monster.com or Ladders.com would prove to be effective for both businesses and job seekers. Worker mobility also needs to be addressed. Our government has been aware for some time that policy reforms providing rent subsidy or supporting housing construction are needed in some regions of Slovakia.
Let's not forget our aging population. The Slovak legislators should revisit the current retirement age of 55 for women and 60 for men and keep it in line with current gains in life expectancy. And what about our working mothers? Legislation needs to be enacted that provides tax credit to working mothers that use daycare facilities.
You know, jobs are being created through the development of Slovak infrastructure. Self-governing regions of Slovakia are currently targeting funds to construct roads, advance waste and water management, and connect their cities to the internet. In 2008, 51% of the population reported regular usage of the internet. Funding earmarked for computer technology should raise that figure to 75% by 2012. Also, the National Action Plan for Sustainable Development was instituted to create a more greener Slovakia. Green energy jobs like insulating flat roofs and family homes are slated.
Funding by the EU in the Zelina region is directly impacting growth and lifestyle. Other regions, like the Banska-Bystrica region, continue to lag behind because of high unemployment and the lack of roads and commercial infrastructure necessary to lure business investment.
Mr. Fule, do you have any ideas regarding solutions for Slovakia's unemployment?
Well, I view education as a key solution. Our citizens must be incentivized to retool themselves. Often, the labor pool does not possess the key skills that are required in the workforce. Tertiary education and lifelong learning must be cost-effective and available. Cooperative funding from the European Social Fund and the Slovak government are being provided to help overhaul the education system. A top priority of this program is to help increase the use of technology in schools. The 2005 modernization program, Slovakia 21, was instituted to help create model school programs.
You know, the most effective solution to deal with the long-term unemployed would be paid on-the-job training programs. The successful Peugeot Citroën training program in Trnava created over 8,000 jobs. Triad partnerships between the business community, education community, and local government will spark innovation and growth.
The two coveted commodities of economic recovery are demand and new jobs. Long-term demand needs to be fostered through new trading partners and the creation of new products and services. For example, Slovakia's natural beauty, central geographic location, and the use of its Eurodollar all provide a strong platform for tourism growth. A successful Dutch marketing campaign last winter has increased reservations by Netherlands citizens this spring.
This is just one example of how Slovakia can increase both trade and benefit from being a part of the euro.
Right. And in the long run, jobs will be created in Slovakia through education, research and development, and small business growth. The Europe Enterprise System provides unlimited entrepreneur support for small businesses. Easy entry into the marketplace is critical for small business startups. There's a great market potential for small businesses within the Eurozone, specifically those that invest in internet sales. More support for small businesses comes from refined initiatives of the Lisbon Strategy, which raises funding for research and development to 3% of GDP and hopes to raise employment to 70% by 2010.
The recently announced economic strategy, Europe 2020, provides a vision for the EU and 10-year goals. Slovakia should follow the lead in this document, which is built on interlocked priorities of growth from knowledge, creating an inclusive society, and a greener economy.
Many thanks to our guests who shared their viewpoints today. Is the euro a Slovak hero? In general, most citizens do believe that it was the right choice for their country. The challenge for Slovakia is to ensure sustainable growth while improving the labor market situation. In the meantime, however, it appears that the integration into the euro area has created a new Superman for Slovakia, the euro.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let me ask you a general question about the euro area and the euro. We're going through a financial crisis right now, focused a little bit on Greece. Do you think the crisis that the euro has gone through and is going through now threatens its existence?
Well, the euro area will not fall after all the work that they have put in to stay stabilized. There has been, people are thinking that Greece may pull out since there are so many problems, but they have recently opened a crisis banking fund to help the countries that need help, especially Greece. Approximately $30 million by the IMF and the ECB will be put into helping Greece. And this shows that if a country pulls out, a lot of damage will be done since they have put so much effort into adopting the euro.
In addition, the financial integration into the euro system is far too great for somebody to, say, pull out of the euro. The benefits of being part of the euro area, even with the financial crisis, are much greater than if a country was on its own. Now the country has 15 trading partners with it as well, so it's a lot better for them to stay in, even during this financial crisis, than it would be for them to pull out.
Perhaps a follow-up question on the financial crisis. Some euro area countries are recovering from this recent crisis much faster than others. What do you think the ECB should be doing in this respect, the European Central Bank? How should it cope with these different rates of recovery?
The ECB lowered interest rates to inspire and promote business investment and individuals to lend, therefore speeding up their economy. They also adopted a 200 billion euro package to infuse into their economies to speed up their economies by providing people jobs, expanding, developing, and increasing their social benefits as well.
They've also replaced the income, corporate, and sales tax with a 19% regressive tax, which means that it's more attractive for big businesses to come to regions like Slovakia and buy products or start manufacturing facilities.
For example, some big businesses that have taken advantage of the 19% flat tax would be Peugeot, Hyundai, Kia, U.S. Steel, all have plants in Slovakia because they're taking advantage of the 19% flat tax.
Countries are also planning to work with Europe 2020 and setting goals with a vision for the EU in the future, and are trying to create a more greener economy to help their economies grow out of this recession by bringing more companies and making them more interested in countries, especially in Slovakia and other developing regions of the euro area.
Okay, so your chosen challenge is high unemployment, and I'd like to ask you about the difference between the unemployment rate and the employment rate. Can you tell me what's the difference between the two?
Yes, okay. Unemployment is a number of people that can work but currently do not have jobs. An employment rate is the number of people who are working.
And are they the opposite? They're the opposites of each other, simple opposites of each other?
No, not total opposites of each other, because unemployment rate is the people that can work. So this excludes young children or people that are currently people that are currently in school. So they're not related to each other as per se, you said.
Because the employment rate measures the total population, what % of people are working.
When you talked about the costs and benefits of being in the euro, you talked about short-term costs and long-term benefits. How important are conditions elsewhere in the eurozone policies in order to achieve those long-term benefits? And is there anything that has to change in the area as a whole for those benefits to be realized?
Well, this recession really opened up new doors for the euro area, and it showed that they are not able to handle these shocks and recessions as well as the United States. So they're trying to work together, and as I stated earlier, are creating more crisis funds for countries that need help. And they have realized that they are not perfect, but they will continue to grow in this aspect.
Also, employees should be able to move between different countries much easier than it currently is. For example, in the United States, it is much easier for somebody to, if they lose their job in a certain city, it's much easier for them to move to another one and get a job. However, in the euro area, it is much more difficult for people to move from country to country, simply because the cultures are so different. So this integration, these countries should become more fully integrated into each other.
I think this issue of worker mobility and flexibility could be addressed through the Europe 2020 goals. The Europe 2020 promotes a Europe without borders to promote more, as we said before, worker flexibility and mobility.
In addition, there should continue to work on SEPA, or the Single Euro Payments Area, so that it makes easier cross-border financing.
can you tell me a little bit about workforce skills? Are there issues facing employers in Slovakia? Are they able to get sufficiently well-qualified workers? If not, what should they do? What should Slovakia do about that problem?
Well, one of the issues facing employers in Slovakia is that there's not enough people to fill the open positions. The most popular courses of study in Slovakia colleges today are philosophy, pedagogy, and law. Contrary to this, Slovakia employers are looking for structural engineers and computer technology majors because that's what's most needed to benefit the economy, but not a whole lot of people are majoring, so you could see how this would be a problem.
Employers also are having trouble hiring women in the workforce because when they go on maternity leave, employers still have to pay for that. And also, when they fire an employee, they have to pay for a percentage of their welfare.
This is a major problem because employers are less likely to hire employees if they know that they have to pay if they fire them. Therefore, it would be more prudent for Slovakia to either decrease its social benefits to benefit the economy as a whole.
One main problem in Slovakia and the euro area in general is the fact that citizens are not able to retool themselves as well as citizens within the United States. And this was shown in many different scenarios, especially in Detroit, when the car scenes fell in Michigan. Citizens were able to travel to other states within the United States. And this has become such a problem within Slovakia, since citizens do not want to necessarily travel to these rural areas, since their infrastructure is not as strong.
Let me just quickly follow up. You mentioned in your presentation the problem of high youth unemployment in Slovakia. It seems to be particularly high in Slovakia, the second highest in the euro area. What are the policies that you're recommending to specifically address youth unemployment?
Okay, well, a great solution for youth unemployment is internships. If we can get the youth involved in the workforce and hands-on, it's more likely that when they graduate from their education, they're going to go into the workforce.
Another thing that you could do is provide tax credits to first-time home buyers. So youth and young workers are more willing to look for a job and perhaps pursue tertiary education so that they're able to buy their first-time house at a lower cost because of these tax credits.
Thank you.
I'd like to conclude with the ECB again. I have a bias, so that I finally understand your point. Is there anything that the ECB should be doing apart from caring about price stability, for instance, additional contributions to lower unemployment in the longer term?
Wait, could you repeat that question again? I didn't catch it.
Do you see anything else that the ECB should be doing at this stage?
Well, the ECB is trying to work with the IMF in funding these countries and trying to pull themselves out of this recession, as I stated earlier, in Greece. But many countries will be asking for money, and working with Greece, trying to pull themselves out, was a risk for the ECB. But they're making their attempt to do all that they can currently by even supporting Greece in this action. And this was such a big step for them, since now maybe other countries will be asking for help, and other countries are dealing with problems, especially Spain, Ireland, Italy, and Greece itself.
Another thing the ECB can do is try and pull back their spending on social benefits because the retirement age is so much lower in the euro area than it is in the US. It's very costly on the governments. If they were to decrease these social benefits, it would improve their economies.
Finally, the last thing that they can do is try and keep their interest rate as low as possible to speed up the economy, because businesses are more likely to start if they don't have to pay as much interest on the loans that they take. So the ECB should keep lowering interest rates if they want to speed up their economy.
It'll also help individuals because they'll be more willing to take out loans for cars or houses because they're able to get these loans at a low interest rate and not have to pay as much money back.
These interest rates would also affect businesses because entrepreneurs would be more willing to start a small business if they could borrow the same amount of money from the bank and have to pay less interest on it.
Should they keep interest rates low at all costs under any circumstances? When should they start increasing interest rates?
Wait, did you say when should they start increasing? Well, they want to make sure that that this lowering of the interest rate doesn't get out of hand. So whenever they feel that the growth rate of the euro area is stable enough, they should start increasing interest rates again to make sure that the ECB maintains its revenue.
Well, a contractionary policy is used to increase interest rates to combat inflation, so that's a great time to increase interest rates.
Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.